Hey, this is Dave Manelsky from Groundwire doing a quick demo of some of the stuff I built around BCORR and BCORR engagements. So BCORR at its heart is a relationship between two organizations, a foundation funder and a grantee. And so there is a BCORR engagement table in the database now that links two organizations together. So let's take a look at that from an organization record. But before I do that, I want to show you that there is now an application called BCORR. These apps, they're just collections of tabs, and so these are just collections of tabs that I think are relevant only for BCORR, so it helps sort of focus your attention on some of the tabs that you need and not the tabs that you don't need. So from this drop down in the top right, you'll see that there's now a selection for BCORR. So let's go take a look at an organization. I had a foundation up. These foundations, these orgs in your database can represent funders to Rockwood, but also BCORR partners that are funders to other grantee organizations. So this is a foundation record that could represent a test record, that could represent a BCORR grantor. And so let's go look. It's an org record like anyone else. There's a few new fields I want to call out. There's a section on an organization layout, and every organization layout has this now. Number of grants given, total amount of grants given, and allocated amount, total amount being the amount budgeted for an active engagement but may or may not have been allocated yet, and then allocated would list everything past and present that's been allocated. And if I keep scrolling down, you'll notice there's two new related lists on all organization records now. You'll see every organization record now has BCORR's grantees funded and BCORR grants received. So because orgs can represent grantors and grantees, you'll see what shows up in different parts of this list. If this is the foundation record, you'll see stuff in the grants funded section. If this is the recipient record, the grantee record, you'll see stuff in the grants received section down below here. So in order to create a new engagement, you can do it in one of a couple of ways. One, you can go to the foundation or grantee record for a BCORR grantee or funder and click on this new BCORR engagement button from either one of these related lists, depending on if you're creating a new grant to fund or a new grant received. The other way that you can do it is to go to the BCORR engagements tab here in the BCORR app and click the new button there. But I'm just going to go to a test foundation record and click new BCORR engagement, and let's take a look around in here what we see. So you can give the engagement a name. So I'm just going to call it Groundwire Capacity Building Grant 2012. Of course, I can't spell here. It's from the fund, and you can list a funder and a grantee. You can list a stage. These are from the overall stages for the overall engagement. Do not apply to the stages that are specific to a phase. We'll get into that in a second here. So let's say we're going to start off and facilitate funder learning. You can give it a start date and an end date. I'm going to give it an end date 2 years from now. So this is a 2-year grant cycle, and you can give it an amount. So this will be for 200,000, and let's say the grantee here is for Groundwire. Okay, so I've created my engagement. I'm going to save it. A couple things. Let's take a look at it from both sides of the wire here. So we'll go to the funder record, which is the test foundation record, and you'll see from test foundation that we were just on. Now there is a Groundwire Capacity Building grant listed in the grantees funded. I'll see that there is a number of grant of 1, and it's for $2 million, and there's nothing that's been allocated yet. So let's go look at the engagement. If we looked at it from the Groundwire record, you would see it in this received section down below here. But let's go back to the engagement itself. So this is the BCORR engagement. You'll see that it has this total grant amount, which is a field that you would set. So you would say this is a $200,000 grant or whatever over however many years, listed, indicated by the start and end date. And you would also, the amount allocated is here, and it shows $0 now. That is because on this BCORR engagement is our phases and allocation. So in order to record an allocation, you just go in here and click New Allocation from the engagement itself, indicate a date and an amount. So let's say there was $50,000 spent in 2012. So I could just say here, I check the books from my foundation. And as of July 31st, they had spent $20,000. Okay, and I can save that allocation. So now you'll notice if I go back to the engagement record here, I'll see that of this 2 million, 20,000 has been allocated, and there's this much available. I can see the allocation information on that engagement itself. I have to add a few fields for amount and date and a couple other things. And then I can also create phases. So these phases are what you would think they are. They have those other stages that were applicable to phases. They have a start date, and then you indicate on the phase who the consultant is and the start date and the end date. So that is BCORR. Let me know if you have any questions.